Market is busy dumping right now. Is this the beginning of our weekend trap? Are they going to get us all short, try and rinse us out again, and then come and send it lower? Guys, I'm going to give you the plan for the weekend. Things are looking messy out there, but we're going to go into the weekend with a setup or two here. Let's go. Guys, and remember, as always, hit that like, hit the bell, and hit the subscribe. And even if it's a little bit of red, remember, yesterday, we absolutely nailed those longs. So well done to everybody that got some longs, and even better to those of you that actually TP'd at some good areas there yesterday. So absolute bangers. Are we going to get it today? Are we going to get a bounce? I think we might get a long live on the show here. And I said to James, we're not going to mess around. We're going to go large if we're going to get that one. Okay, here is James. And just quickly, quick take. It's still Valerius today.
We are so back.
Okay, let's go back, guys. We had a pump and now we're back. Okay, so nothing to worry about. All is well. Now we're going to talk about what might be causing some of the drama at the moment. But overall, obviously, bloodshed. There's nothing much to report here. Absolute bloodshed here. Yesterday, absolute banging longs. Today, resetting everything. And it is something we are getting pretty used to in the current market. I mean, we can't act surprised when this happens. This morning, I was doing my Friday Banger Zoom in the Chart Hackers Discord, and we were looking at a lot of the lower time frame oscillators, and these 1 hours were turning super bearish. We had signs on ETH, SOL, pretty much everything. AVAX, HYPE, everything had bearish divergence. Everything was looking like it might want to just lean over a little bit, and now the divergences are playing out. Okay, so is it time to close shorts and things like that? And I would say, looking at the current situation, we are getting pretty close to some kind of short-term reversal. Okay, so look at this. Here's BTC, and I was saying earlier the 1 hour could drop. Well, look, here we go. It has obviously dropped, and we are now moving into one of our first big reaction zones. Now, you'll remember yesterday we got the absolute rocket ship here of 89,150, and I'm expecting pretty much the same. We've come all this way down. We've done a full oscillator reset. So if there is going to be a nice reversal for me, it's going to be something like this, a drop here, maybe a sweep below. So look out like 88,950, something like that, and then a short-term pump that could give us some kind of action. And I would say I wouldn't look much beyond about 91K, guys, if we do get a bounce here in BTC. So in terms of, closing shorts and managing ourselves a little bit here, I would say we're getting to the point where I don't want to be overly short now in the market. Obviously, some of my longs have taken hits now on the way down, but I'm going to start closing a couple of these short situations here just to protect myself in case we get a snapback bounce. And I'm going to be looking for a couple of longs, and I'm going to show you guys exactly where we can get some of them. Okay, so 89,100 is going to be our first line of support. So again, try and resist the longs here if possible. I know it's very tempting to jump in, but we are looking at an oscillator that isn't quite there yet, but it is pretty close. Okay, so 89,100 support number one. If we start pumping, guys, that is it for me. We're looking at about 91K. That is where you're looking for some kind of short. You're going to find that there is going to be fib confluence here as well. So if that is the bounce there, look at that 618 there at 92K. Okay, so we don't want to go much more than 91 to 92K. That would be the extreme high for me in the current situation. Now, naturally, we got to let BTC start settling down. And for me, the trigger for the long is going to be a sweep here into this 89,100 region. So let's wait and see. We're probably going to get it live on the show. Okay, so we're going to jump into a little bit of news and things like this. And Tiana, just control yourself. I think these 1 hours need to just drop a little bit lower here. I think, I mean, it's very tempting for me, but I don't think they are there yet. I'm going to show you so many alts today, guys. I've got Brett, I've got SPX, HYPE, XRP, SOL, ETH, AVAX, 𝗨𝗪. I got pump. Okay, I did try a long on pump. I'm going to show you guys that one in a couple of minutes. And that BitGet cashier sound always wakes me up. It's the best sound, except when you're getting stopped out. It's less best when you are getting stopped out. Okay, guys, let's see what's going on with the news. I'm going to cover gold and silver as well. We're talking Netflix, which is also giving us a little bounce. But in terms of lickies here, 399, another massive day of liquidations in the markets. Again, I still can't believe that our new normal is $300 to $400 million a day in the market there. So absolute annihilation out there at the moment. And I thought this was appropriate earlier when Bitcoin was a little bit higher. But me in 2016, instead of spending $900 for 10 BTC, I mean, this was pretty much me in a different way, but pretty much the same thing. Definitely James. It was definitely James. Why did we party and not just like buy all of that BTC? What were we doing? What is wrong with us? Okay, and what was wrong with you guys? Who took profits yesterday? Wow, today was great. Look at this. La la la. Maybe I should have sold instead of taking a screenshot. Guys, who didn't sell at the top yesterday? I need to know. Let me know in the chats who is getting a penalty. Okay, who's getting a penalty for not taking profits yesterday? I want to know. Did you open head shorts as well? Did you guys catch a little bit of something? James, did you open head shorts? Did you take profit?
I took profit. I didn't open head shorts. I just closed everything, went to sleep. That's it. I took my profit, went to bed.
Pretty nice. I did a full round trip on ETH. I gave the chart hackers the full plan. We had a bounce, but now we've round tripped again. I'll show you guys what we did there, but I did very nicely. Bitcoin was very good. A couple of other bounces were very good as well. And we're going to hit you again. We're going to hit you again with some plays here. I TP'd it didn't short. Good enough for me. Okay. And 𝗕𝗃𝗍 shorted. Good enough for me, sir. Okay, let's go. Fear and greed in the stock market is moved back into neutral. I'm pretty sure after today, it's going to start moving back down again. But just for a moment there, we were back into neutral there on the stock market. We're going to talk about that one in a second. Obviously, the big thing on everyone's lips at the moment is QE versus reserve management purposes, and everyone's trying to figure out what the exact definition is. But basically, at the end of the day, this is all resulting in a lower chance of a rate cut on January the 28th. Okay, currently we're looking at about a 20% chance of a 25 basis point cut. So it's not looking good at the moment, this whole thing. And, there's lots of debates as if this is QE or not and if it's bullish or not. But at the end of the day, no one knows. And you can see the markets are just as confused. But here is the big one. Okay, this is the big news. Let's not forget about the Japanese carry trade that comes in every now and again. They just come in and remind you that this isn't done. Now, just a short version of this is the Japanese have basically had 0% interest rates forever. Okay, and what this means is they can borrow their money for free, go and make money somewhere else, and then come back and pay their debt. And now all of a sudden, they have to pay interest on their free money. And what if you have $1 trillion invested in another country that costs you nothing to borrow from your central bank, and suddenly your central bank says to you, thanks, I need some interest. Okay, what are you going to do? You're going to start exiting your stocks. You're going to start exiting your bonds, whatever you're doing. And the long and the short of it is possible rinse. Okay, like that. James, anything you want to add to that? Did I sum it up?
No, that's exactly it. Thing is, their bond yields have been going up as well. So it's become more attractive to keep money local instead of buying currency there, taking it to the US to spend it. But I saw Rand talk about this a week or 2 weeks ago briefly, and he didn't think this was that big of a deal because he said since the big carry trade unwind back in August of 24, that 70% of that trade never came back. Only 30% of the total that existed then is back in the market. So it's not as much money, but I don't think it's going to stop us from dumping on this news.
It doesn't stop emotion. Okay, it doesn't stop emotion. It doesn't stop selling. Okay, so guys, it is there. Remember, there's always going to be something. There's always going to be something in the market driving the emotions, triggering things like that. That's why let's just focus on the big areas. We try and get the longs. We try and get the shorts. Hopefully, we take profits along the way, and then we're okay. Okay, so let's talk S&P. Here we go, 6,750. I think that's worth a dip here. If we get a long there, 6,750. I think that's worth a look. Okay, so I'm going to try and long that one on BTC. See if we drop into that zone. That 50-day MA is nice. You can see, look at this, support, resistance. So if we get that drop there, look for that long 6,750 short-term bounce, maybe could be fun. Okay, let's talk Netflix. Look at that, turning green. It was a little bit greener just now, but that Netflix bounce so far so good. MicroStrategy still undecided. Circle's tricky for me because I want a strong crypto market, and obviously the bull in me believes we are going to get some kind of Christmas rally, but I can already smell James just like shaking his head in the back there. He's not feeling the energy at the moment, but yeah, there we go. So nothing's changing there for me at the moment. In terms of Netflix, guys, I'm in the long. Okay, let's see if we do get a little bit of continuation. 93 is the support. Anything down to 92, close under 92, maybe cut it. Okay, and then it probably means we are dropping into about 82 for the next bounce zone. But one of these zones is going to give you a nice sustained bounce. Okay, it's going to give us a decent move. Dylan's got his chest out for the ladies. You know what I was going to do? And in fact, now I'm digressing. Okay, I was going to get when entry tattooed here on the chest for you guys so you can see it.
Did you see the question earlier? Somebody noticed a tattoo somewhere there. They figured it's XRP. Is that what's on your chest there?
It's actually on my buttock. on my right buttock. It says XRP Army. Okay, anyway, let's not even go there. Okay, so Netflix 93.92, guys, close below that, you out, and then 82.83. That is the next big long zone. I'm telling you, there's a move coming here. Okay, there's going to be a decent move, 10-15% on Netflix. We just got to get that timing right. It's one of these two zones, I think. Okay, let's see if that's going to play out. MicroStrategy, nothing to do here. You can see my sentiment remains the same. I am looking for some kind of upside. Let's talk about gold. A little bit salty here. I gave the 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 the short I wanted today, 4,360 into 4,400, and they dipped it early. Look at this. Okay, they dipped it early. They didn't even give us the pleasure of a sweep of those highs. Okay, so still waiting. In terms of gold, look at that 4 hour. It's completely overcooked here. Maybe another shoot up there and then some kind of dump, and maybe we are going to get that sweep. So trying to be patient here. 4,360 into 4,400. Possible short on gold. Let's see how that is going to play out. Now, silver breaks all-time high, 65. Look at these boomers. That's us. Boomers who bought silver at $60 in 1980. I mean, I think we even need the music. It's so good. Oh, I can't play that. I'm going to get copyrighted or something. Okay, but there you go. There's the guys celebrating their silver play. And somebody longed the top on silver. I'm telling you, one of those guys bought the absolute top of this move. Look at this thing. Remember when gold shat the bed like this? Maybe this is the moment for silver. Okay, so I've got a new long for you guys. If you want to play the DCB, you're looking at something like that. Bang, and then some kind of short-term dip here on silver, if that was the top. Now, I'm not saying that was the top, but I'm saying if that was the top, this is a possible play here for us. Okay, so 57.33, that is a nice bounce zone. This whole region over here looks quite fun for me on silver. So 57.33, possible dead cat bounce over there, and then maybe some more downside. Okay, this thing is the most overbought it's ever been, apparently, or the most overbought in 44 years, something like that. And it's time for a breather. Okay, so let's see if we're going to get that. BTC higher time frame, guys. No changes. What I've done is I've sharpened up some of these major zones for you, and they all hold equal weighting, okay? All of these levels here, they're equally strong. So every time Bitcoin pumps up, if it even goes into these regions, you got to treat these levels with respect. So even if you're playing the lower time frame stuff and we're shorting and we're longing and we're having fun and doing these things, we got to zoom out and pay attention. We treat these big levels with a ton of respect, because look how they behave here. Look at this macro fib, 236 fib, 91,370. Look at this region here. Okay, putting so much pressure there on BTC. Your next one, 98. Your next one, 103.5. Your next one, 109K. Okay, all of these are major danger zones. So as you push up, you show the respect that they deserve. Okay, TON USD is killing me. Is there anything that's not killing us at the moment? And look, we haven't had a sharp bounce yet on BTC. Guys, I genuinely think we're going to get a long yet. 89K, little sweep there. They're going to just flush out the guys that are trying to long now, and then we're going to get a little bounce. Okay, and we're going to go in with size. Okay, and if we get it wrong, we're going in at 87,880 is going to be the next one. 87,880. Okay, and Ivan says he only scalp trades lately, Steve. Well, that's nice. That's nice. Okay, and I mean, we are giving up a lot of these moves. They keep rinsing back. Now here we go. This is an interesting one. Yesterday we were watching this, and look at that beautiful, like simple TA. What happens here? That we drop down into dominance. What happens? Bitcoin takes over off the 618. What happens here? Yesterday we hit the 50-day MA and a macro 382, and you get the rejection, and everything starts ripping. Okay, so we saw that playing out nicely, and once again now obviously under pressure here, and BTC dominance is pumping. Now when dominance is pumping and Bitcoin is flat and falling over, it's naturally a problem. These altcoin coins absolutely shit the bed, and it's something we need to pay attention to. So in terms of where we could see a bounce, I would say we are right around the corner here in this dominance. So 59.6% into 59.7%. This is a potential reaction zone now, and that is where we should get alts outperforming. Okay, so Bitcoin is close to support. When we go into these alts now, you're going to see a lot of these alts are close to support, dominance at resistance, possible reaction coming, not a guarantee, but if you felt like taking on risk just now and you didn't, well done. Now there's a better probability that you might get something here on BTC. Now I'm going to talk to you about a couple of altcoins. I'm going to give you a few plans to look out for this weekend, because we will get a bounce. Whether it's today or whether it's tomorrow, we're going to get a sharp bounce. And I want you guys to see, once again, like we did yesterday, where you can take profit and where you can look for shorts again. Okay, remember, we want to take longs when it's nice and red, and we're looking for shorts when it's nice and green. That's the simple way we play things here. We try and keep it as simple as possible there and identify reversals. Okay, let's get into alts. And obviously our shitcoin casino, this was a lot more relevant earlier before the market collapsed, but I was tracking two tokens for you, ICNT, and I was tracking River for you guys as possible shorts. So I just want to give you guys these again. So ICNT, just put an alarm on here, possible short at 42. That's a region of interest, 42. So you're looking for a pump up and then a nice big sell-off. So 42 on ICNT. Look at the dumps here. Whenever it does tend to fall over, you do get some decent moves to the downside. And then I've got River. I started that short earlier today. I gave you two levels yesterday on the show. The zones were 6.8 and the zone was 7.65. You can see what happened. 6.8, they gave us the pump and dump in that zone, and they've pumped it straight back through again. And I've tried the short now at that upper band, 7.65. So if you do push up again, I would say there's a strong possibility this short plays out for you, and then you get that big 20-30% move to the downside. Okay, now all these charts, they go into the Chart Hackers Discord directly after the show. You'll find it all in there for you guys. Pendle, that's an interesting one. Haven't looked at that for a while. Proche, I've got ZEC for you. It looks a meme coin's generational bottom. Never say bottom on a meme coin, sir. They literally could go. I mean, they're going so bad. What are they delisting? James Ponky, I believe, is getting delisted. And I've got ZEC, guys, looking super bearish. I'm bringing that for you in a second. Okay, let's talk alts. Okay, here we go. This is ETH on the 1 hour. Now, what did I give you yesterday? I gave you the bounce, and I gave you a potential short zone yesterday, or potential rejection zone. Okay, look at that, 3250 into 3290. That was our local bear zone. Okay, so nice rejection there in that area. Obviously, a monster dump here on ETH. And in terms of reversals, we are getting turbo close to an ETH reversal here. We're getting so close that I might actually have to close some of these shorts here. And I'm actually going to close this AVAX short here. XRP never closing that short. Let's just, I want to buy some more ETH here quickly. Okay, I'm not saying that's the bottom, but I want to start getting positioned here for some kind of bounce, guys. Okay, this market's been absolutely shitting the bed here. And, okay, ZEC, you can see I've started a short here again on ZEC, looking for something. I'm going to take you guys through that in a sec. I'll explain the whole thing to you. Okay, so ETH, let's just talk ETH here. On the 1 hour, there's a couple of things going on. Big pointer for me, 50-week moving average. Look at that. This is our major resistance and support. Look what happens here. Support over there, resistance over here, and now it's popped through again. So obviously, we want to treat this area as hopefully a support zone if we are going to get a bounce, and we're looking for a bigger push to the upside. Now let's watch what is our big level. Our 786 fib is the one that's left. Remember, as we lose a level, we need to look at the next one. So we've lost the 618. That's cool. And now we're looking, and we're possibly looking now for a bounce on that 786 on ETH. Okay, so what is that level? 3024 down to say 3000 makes sense to me. How do we time that in? Again, we're looking for at least a 1 hour reversal, alternatively some kind of bullish divergence. So what does that look like? A possible bounce now, maybe a fresh low on ETH, and then the big pump. But right now, in terms of putting the brakes on, we are moving into an area where we can expect a bounce on ETH in the short term. Now, if they are going to drop this thing lower, all you need to do is identify your next region, because you can see in terms of the oscillator, we are close to a 1 hour bounce. In terms of a bullish divergence print, it means we need one more drop to the downside. And what does that look like? So the drop to the downside could be this move on ETH here into 3000. Alternatively, if it gets uglier over the next couple of hours, and I think we'll see the end of it today, you're going to look at 2910 for your bounce on ETH. Okay, that should give you a bullish divergence print, and it should give you something sustainable in terms of a push to the upside. All right, so if you're feeling a bit of pain, I think the bounce is 3000 or 2910. These two make the most sense to me at the moment. Now let's look at ETH on the 2 hour time frame and just try and get our heads around what is going on here. You can see we are about to print, if we bounce now, we are about to print divergence on the 2-hour time frame. Okay, so that is generally a good start. So we're close to a reverse on the 1 hour, and the 2 hour is getting close. We want to see the bounce pretty soon. That'll give us that divergence on ETH. So again, I'm not too fussy on the 2 hour at the moment. 3020, 2910, one of these zones I believe is going to give us that divergence play on ETH on the 1 hour or the 2 hour, and that we can possibly take advantage of. Obviously, we're playing in a very local zone here at the moment, and we can see there is some action down here. But right now, in terms of what I'm looking at short term, I don't think we need to deal with it yet. You might get something along these lines where it bounces off one of these zones and then drops back into that area later on. Okay, but right now, in terms of short-term stuff, that is what I'm watching on ETH. Okay, XBL in downside price discovery for weeks. Best short of my lifetime, worst long of my lifetime, guys. I'd longed that thing and I got absolutely smashed on that XBL. I was saying this on the show the other day. One of the guys was like, this is a generational long. I was like, okay. So I longed this thing, and then it starts going down. And then I messaged the guy. I'm like, isn't this a generational long? He's like, no, it's going to zero now. I was like, but when were you going to tell me that it was going to zero? So I got stuck in this fucking XBL situation. Okay, Dimitri, I'm glad you're loving it, sir. Okay, let's talk Sol. This thing was filthy this morning. So I gave the chart hackers a couple of bearish divergence short zones for Solana this morning. Okay, so possible bearish divergence shorts on the 1 hour. And you can see we were printing bearish divergence. There it is. When you get that at resistance, that is where you need to start saying, hang on, the risk reward for being long is not great. That's where you start flipping to shorts. Okay, so remember, when you flip this chart over, keep it as simple as possible. Would you look for longs? Okay, look at that. So when you get this massive drop in the market, do you look for longs in that area? And the answer is typically yes, you would. And if you had bullish divergence there, would you look for a long in that zone? And the answer was probably yes, you would. So why wouldn't you look for shorts in an area like that? Okay, so there we go again. So resistance, bearish divergence, Sol rolls over. Okay, now what happens? So the concern for me at the moment is Sol can potentially go a lot lower. Look at this. Our oscillator isn't at the bottom yet. We need to still move over another few hours on this oscillator that could send us down to a bit of a deeper level. And that could mean that Sol, for example, might want to visit 128. Now, remember, I spoke about not tapping the fib yesterday. Okay, now we've got a 786 fib that might be in reach for us here on Solana. Okay, so something to look out for. Maybe get your alarms on here in this area. 128, that is very interesting to me. Let's talk Sol again on the 2 hour time frame. Still bearish. Okay, so that is telling us there's hidden divergence here. There's a blue reversal dot. So that is telling us, guys, possible short-term bounce coming on Sol. I think we can agree. At some point we might get something like this, and then look out. Okay, 128. Based on this divergence at the moment on that 2 hour, looks like we could get ourselves in a bit of trouble. Okay, so 128 for Sol. That is looking super interesting to me now. And then a little bit lower down, here's our backup zone. This is 123 into 122. Okay, so both of them are on the table based on what I'm looking at here in front of me. Okay, so Sol we've dealt with. XRP, again, same story. We got the long yesterday, closed that long at this 2.05. And now what are we doing? Okay, look at this full round trip. And now we are printing fresh lows. This is getting super interesting here. And again, our oscillator isn't quite reversing just yet. So concerns for me on XRP is that 1.91 is now on the table. And obviously, we never close an XRP short if we get a good entry. We hold that thing to zero. One day it's going to zero, and we're going to tell our grandchildren about it. Okay, so we're going to keep trying, and we're going to keep fighting this thing. So right now, 1 hour looking bearish. And what are the options? So right now, what we can see on a lower time frame is maybe a little short-term bounce. But guys, I wouldn't get too excited. I think we're going to see something like that on XRP, and this is going to give us our long this weekend. Okay, so you're going to be looking at about 191, 192 on XRP. That is starting to make sense to me. Let's take a look at the 2 hour quickly just to tie this in. And who says Trouble's our second name? What's he going on about there? You can see that 2 hour also wanting to come down a little bit here. And empty my 401k to short XRP. Okay, 4 hours going to print divergence. That's good. Okay, this is all teeing up nicely. If we hit this 1.91, guys, that is going to print divergence on the 4 hour oscillator as well. So that could actually be a decent bullish move for us on XRP. I don't think all is lost if we do hit that zone. Let's take a look here. printing divergences. Okay, it's looking much better on XRP. So I would say 1.91. If we get that drop into 1.91 in the next 12 hours, maybe leading into tomorrow, I think that's an absolute banger for us on XRP. 1.91. Watch that area, guys. That could be, I wouldn't say a generational long. It could be a generational short opportunity once it bounces. Okay. And Benny says everything is fine, guys. Everything is fine. Okay, everything is fine. Okay, let's talk Hyperliquid. Also, guys, nice trade yesterday. We had the divergence finally paid me back. I took 2 stops on Hype and I had to bank those profits. Finally paid for some of those stops, and I was quite relieved in the end. But you can see now this thing has turned bearish. Look at that, bearish divergence printing on Hype. And now we kind of got to wait and see when this Bitcoin is going to give us a reversal. So for me, if you want to try Hype again, I think there's a nice picture brewing here for us in terms of a possible long. You can get an inverse head and shoulders here on Hyperliquid. So what I want to say to you guys, if you are looking for a little bit of action here today, I would say possible longs on Hype. If Bitcoin just bleeds a little bit more here, you're possibly going to get something at 28 into 27.5. So 28 into 27.5 is not a bad looking area. Okay, based on where we are here with that oscillator, let's just watch this thing drop. It needs to come down lower. Let's see if it just chops around a little bit in this area. If they can just do this while the market makes up its mind, bang. Okay, we're looking 28 to 27.5. That could come into play there for us. I quite like this as well. There we go. Nice horizontals on that 786. Okay, so 27.5 looks pretty good. Days like this, we get Jeff to back us up, guys. I mean, I never want to bring Jeff when the market's collapsing. I feel like when the market's falling over, we can't bring a chicken, guys. We're going to look for entries. You know what I mean? Like, we got to be focused here. Here's an entry for you guys. Speaking of entries, SPX, okay, 0.555. It's around the corner. I think be ready. Get your alarms on. It's coming, okay? Wait for this thing. 555 on SPX. Short-term move, maybe a 5 to 10%. 555, guys. Look at that. We haven't tapped the 618. Okay, pretty rare for a shitcoin not to come back and touch a 618. Again, you do get situations where they don't, but it's pretty rare if it doesn't. So 555 for me on SPX, looking good for a possible long. I would say you can use your exit plan is going to be a close under 533. Okay, so 533. Give yourself breathing room. Give it time to just massage the area. Okay, let it flirt around here and then pop. Okay, and then maybe some more downside later on. Okay, so there's a nice setup there. 555 into 533 for SPX. I quite like the look of that. Let's talk Brett. Oh, this is hard not to go long here. James, how we do this? James says no. That means we got to go long. Okay, hold on. Let's see what's going on here. Let's look at lower time frame.
Shit.
Well, I am. Okay, fuck this shit. Okay, I mean, it's guys. I gotta have a little stab here. I gotta have a little stab at this. Okay, we gotta have a go here. Okay, we're sitting on that trend, guys. The exit is so clean. Okay, it's such a clean exit. Don't go massive. Obviously, you don't rinse yourselves. Yeah. Oh, the order's too big. Hold on. Let's go smaller. We're so close. Okay, we're so close. Okay, don't rinse yourselves. Don't rinse yourselves. Okay, don't go massive size. Get the cash register out. Okay, here we go. So Brett what is going on here with Brett? Let's just talk about this thing. What do we see? Okay, we've dropped into a 618 and rising trend, a natural reaction zone. Look what else we have here giving us a little bit of confluence. Look at this nice level there. Bang. Okay, so you've got horizontal 618 and trend in that zone, looking okay for a potential bounce area. Okay, so I'm sniffing around. If this thing fails, okay, it can simply fail here. You're looking at a close under this low. So 0.1566. That is going to be a cut, okay? And then if we drop again, this is your next long zone. Look at that confluence here. We've got an order block here. We got a 786. We got horizontals. And if we drop into that zone in the near future, in the next couple of hours, we are getting that short-term reversal in the market. Okay, so levels are right here where it is, okay? Quite degen, okay? Quite degen. Just telling you. Then your next one is 0.15 into 0.145. 15 into 0.145. These are the long zones. Don't rinse yourselves, okay? In terms of risk, close under 1566. You might want to cut because it could mean that you are dropping into that second zone over there. Okay, so just play safe. Let's talk AVAX absolutely shitting the bed. And this was a nice trade in the end yesterday. Okay, and look at this full round trip. And remember, guys, how simple this stuff can be. Look at that rising trend. What happened here? We lost the rising trend. We went up. We retested into a bear zone. VWAP 0.5 horizontal. Thank you very much. Bang. Okay, now we're dropping back down. This is the long zone for AVAX. 12.6 into 12.5. 12.6 into 12.5. Let's make this nice. I did close my AVAX. I did close my AVAX short. Yes, I did. Okay. 12.6 into 12.5 looks like the long zone for me on AVAX. So let's just redecorate this chart. Let's do that. Let's do that. Clean this thing up. Don't want to give you guys a mess. Got to be clean. Okay, there we go. So there's your long zone here at 12.6 into 12.54. Look for that bounce. Okay, so just be patient here. I think it's coming. Will be the next dip on BTC, and then hopefully a bounce in that area. Obviously, guys, don't play silly here. Look for the sweep. Okay, they love to come and sweep those lows, so look for that. They attack the lows, so you think it's going down, and then you get the bounce. Okay, 12.65 into 12.52. Look for that thing. And Christian, I think Pippin it's not like it's a difficult one to short because there's so much like. I mean, I know everything's manipulated, but like it really feels like Pippin has got a manipulation issue. And I think just, be super careful because they can pump you into oblivion if you play it wrong. Okay, let's talk to 𝗬𝗯. I've got two zones for you, okay? To 𝗬𝗯, look at the 1 hour dropping. Look at this thing, filth. Okay, this thing is coming down fast now at the moment. The obvious zone, if I have to look at this and say, where's like the best zone? It's 279, okay? If you want to be filthy, you can try it here, 286, 285. But for me, to be super comfortable, you really want to try and get as many of these oscillators at the lows before you start building positions. Okay, remember, you get the reversal print, okay? Don't talk about my wife, Kimmy. What's going on here? What's going on in the chats here?
A bunch of guys seem to have a crush on Kimmy. They're all saying she's single, apparently. I don't know. Getting spicy in there.
We're trading shit coins here. Okay, don't mess with 𝗵𝗵𝗿𝗁. Okay, don't mess with 𝗵𝗵𝗿𝗁. Okay, guys, these are the options. 1 hour's dropping. Okay, we're getting to extremely oversold. What does that mean? Sometimes you get a snapback bounce in the market, but that can create a false sense of security. So you get that snapback bounce, and then what happens is it starts drifting back down again, and that is where you get those divergence prints. So don't long everything you see on a level. Be selective and be careful with your sizing. Okay, once we get a move, then we can start see what the market is doing, and then start adding to positions and positioning ourselves properly. Right now, just protect yourselves. There's a couple of bounces potentially coming. Don't trade all of them. Okay, don't trade all of them. Okay, so oscillator, you know what to do. 279 is the big zone. Okay, 279 over there. That looks interesting to me. That is a 786 as well, and a trend situation. We've also got some confluence here in that zone. Okay, hopefully by then we're going to get that reversal on the oscillator. Okay, that is what you want to see. Legend of E is in the house. Hello, sir. Okay, pump. Let's see. Are we going to get rinsed on pump? Again, guys, I just want to show you another supreme example. Yesterday, we pump into the local bear zone. What is the bear zone? It's the 382, it's the 0.5, and it's the VWAP, okay? And it's as simple as this. Whenever you get a bounce in the market, you take your fibs, okay? You go from the highs all the way back down to the lows, okay? And then you look for your bear zone, which is your 0.5, your 382, and your VWAP like this. And that is going to give you a guideline as to where you can take profits. It's a guideline as to where you can look for shorts as well on your tokens, okay? Because look at this. Look at the situation here. We pumped into an undercarriage 382 and VWAP. So just to show you guys what to do, you take your fibs from the high to the low, okay? 382.5, you bang out your VWAP at the high, and it creates this nice bear zone for you, and that is your engagement area. That is where you get engaged, and you look for your shorts, and you look for your longs if it's the bull zone, okay? And in terms of the oscillator, we are nearly there. There are two options. One of them is the easy long, which bounces right here. So 274 into call it 269, it bounces here. That's the easy long. The difficult long is the divergence long. And what does that look like? The divergence long is simply this. You're going to get a short-term bounce in the market, okay? So you're going to get a bounce. Then the oscillator does this. What does that mean? It means the price is printing a new low. So what does that look like in terms of the price? You'll probably see something along these lines. You'll get a bounce here. Okay, so you'll get this short-term bounce, and then you drop here and you print that divergence, and that's your long. Okay, so 265 is your higher grade, lower time frame bounce, and medium grade is 274 down to this 269 region. So short-term possible bounces there on those guys. Okay, let's talk ZEC. This thing is so offensive, and I was saying this yesterday. When the market is really dumping and really looking bad, ZEC seems to outperform every single time. And when the market is pumping, ZEC seems to roll over. So that's kind of what I'm looking for at the moment. I'm trying to build a short. Let me show you why this thing looks bearish to me. Look at this on the 4-hour, divergence, VWAP reversals, all those things on the 4-hour. Let me show you on the 2-hour as well. Blue reversal dot, multiple divergences. So you can see, like, my sentiment on ZEC is that it is getting a little bit tired. Look at this. It's going to print bearish divergence on the 8-hour. This thing overall is looking like dog shit. Okay, I don't know how else to explain it. In terms of the oscillator, not looking good. Okay, so James, did you not like that phrase? James's head popped up when I said dog shit. Sorry, sir. Okay, so what do we do? How do we play this? So the difficult trade is probably going to be a second squeeze. Okay, so you probably see that pump into 480, 490, and then that sell-off. But I would say keep your eyes on 8-hour, 4-hour, 2-hour divergences. That stuff looks rough. Okay, and the Duke says, I just have to say, thanks to this channel, I'm not getting rinsed as much. Well, bro, I'm glad I could assist. I mean, I'm glad you're not getting rinsed as much. My God, I hope you're not getting rinsed at all, sir. We got to do our best. Okay, we just remember, guys, I'm going to shovel you like entries all day long. Okay, and some of them are going to absolutely explode. Some of them aren't going to do well. Some of them you're going to get rinsed on. But if you consistently take these entries and they hit these nice big zones, the bear zones, all the hot zones I give you to the upside, take your profits. Okay, you're going to do okay. You're going to do okay. Dylan 24/7 coming with the alpha. Guys, that's why I'm here. Okay, I was put on this planet to serve you shit coins. Okay, like ZEC. Okay, 275 into, I'm sorry, 475 into 490. That's a possible squeeze into that area, and then a short. For me, overall, the picture is bearish. For me, this thing wants to come lower. I'm trying to hold on to this guy. Okay, so let's see. Let it play out. Let's see what we get. And then, guys, reminder, FWOG. Don't forget, 937 could be an entry coming here on FWOG. Render 144 could be a little degen entry coming on Render. Let's talk 𝗬𝗰. What do we got here? Not much. Okay, looks like dog shit as well. Let's clean this chart. Let's go bang. Let's see what we got here on 𝗬𝗰. Let's build you a quick entry. You can see range high, you can see range low, and hopefully somewhere in between we get some kind of bounce. Okay, so there's your extreme move on 𝗬𝗰. You probably find in these current conditions, you know, at some point it drops here and then we get that type of move. In terms of this weekend, obviously we want to play level by level on 𝗬𝗰, and you can attack these areas where you have decent confluence. Now, interestingly, 𝗬𝗰 doesn't have a 618 that's been hit yet. So your first port of call in terms of a lower time frame bounce on 𝗬𝗰, you're probably looking at 1.49 for your possible bounce. Okay, so something like this. Okay, look at this region there, 1.49. Let's just look at, I want to see if there's order blocks here as well. So you're looking for a drop, okay, consolidation, and then a pop here. In terms of the 1 hour time frame, that is getting close. Okay, I think we are going to get some kind of bounce there. 149. Okay, guys, 149 on 𝗬𝗰 should give you something there in that zone. Okay, let's see this order block. Come on. When you're ready. There it is. Okay, so yeah, anything into 149, I quite like the look of that. Okay, guys, you got the plan. Short-term bounces coming. Your next level is the divergence bounce. Be safe. Don't ape too hard. You can see I've closed 1 or 2 shorts. You know what I want for Bitcoin. We got 2 big levels there. I'm looking for longs. We're going to get that bounce, hopefully with size. James, anything else you'd like to impart?
Good luck, everyone. It'll be an interesting weekend.
Do you mean it this time?
Yeah, they're going to need it, I think.
Guys, we'll see you later. Okay, be safe. If there's anything serious, we'll drop it in the hackers. Okay, catch you guys later.